Last time on Square Roots, we go green and help with some terraforming, accept multiple phone calls, and inadvertently start the robot uprising. This unit would never hurt a human. Parentheses lie!
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Well.
John Sisquack Brandon. Is that guy's name? Sisquack?
Bisquick.
Yeah. John Bisquick Brandon. That's a cool nickname, actually.
Yeah.
John Bisquick Brandon.
Oh, boy.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is Square Roots, a podcast where we play and talk about classic RPGs.
We would
Right?
say
Cool.
your favorite RPGs, but this time around we're playing KOTOR 2.
It's like a book club, but for your ears.
It's like a let's play for your mind.
It's like a podcast.
It is like a
Do
podcast.
y'all
Very much
remember
like a podcast.
those fucking graphic, what was it called, that did the books for your mind gimmick?
What?
Where do you think that came from? It came from an ad.
Books for your
Books
mind?
for your mind?
Yeah.
That's what
was the
books
format?
are?
They were audiobooks, but they would insert like crowd sounds and like laughter and like sword clashes or gunshot sounds.
I think they called it movies for your mind,
whatever.
not books for your mind.
Books for your brain.
I think a book is already a book for your brain.
Isn't a movie also already a movie for your brain? Everything's for your brain.
That's
No.
true.
Yeah, I guess that's
It is true.
Well, that's it for
Wow.
this episode of Square Roots.
Wait, but what was the name of the company?
Bisquick.
Graphic.
Wasn't it Graphic Audio?
Was it Graphic Audio?
Graphic Audio, movies in your mind.
Those things
I
were
just
crap.
Googled it.
I've
It was a
never
terrible
heard them.
idea. Really?
Wow.
I used to listen to a bunch of audiobooks.
I still do, sometimes.
Graphic audio, you've been called out on the Square Roots
Do
podcast.
you think they're even still in business? I doubt it.
I don't. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. Audible bought them.
Oh, so Audible makes books for your brains now.
Yes, books for your brains.
Movies for your mind.
Oh, boy.
Well,
So-
guys, let's talk about how we leveled up so we can get to this big, long chonker of an app.
It's gonna be a short episode because we have a time limit.
Well, you can keep going after I leave. It's
No, we
fine.
can't. No, we can't.
We could, but
Without
we don't
you,
want
John?
to.
Yeah, we don't want
Yeah.
to. You're the glue that
It's
holds
not
this
the same
podcast
without
together.
You are.
That's not nice. I'm sure John would like to take an episode off every now and then.
He can't. He's the glue.
Well, who wants to kick us off this week?
I have two not terribly interesting things, so maybe I can go first and bore
Oh,
you
boy.
all, lull you into a slumber. I stayed up real late last night, like a big boy, and watched a fight that lasted 40 seconds.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Real excited to make it to 12:30 when the Conor McGregor Cowboy Cerrone fight finally started, and it only lasted 40 seconds. Still a pretty good fight, though, actually. Watch the GIF.
What?
It was a 40-second fight. Somebody got knocked the fuck out.
That's like a real fight.
Yeah, it's
like
a
a
UFC
genuine, like on the street fight.
what
That's
happens.
what happened.
Yes.
Fight.
It was short and brutal, and a friend of mine made a remark that I thought was pretty telling, which is that in the 40 seconds that those two men fought, the loser of the fight had more like damage done to his face than I could do to a man who was standing still with his eyes closed and his hands tied behind his back in 40 seconds. It was crazy. My other level up is that I watched a movie.
Which one?
He doesn't know.
I don't remember. No, I did
Mrs.
watch a
Doubtfire.
movie that I'm going to recommend, since this is our recommendations section. Rex and Bloops. I'm going to recommend that you should all check out Hobbs and Shaw, the Fast and the Furious spinoff.
No.
It was definitely the type of movie where there were multiple times when I was watching it when I started to
Cry.
let's say complain or kind of talk back to the TV and saying things like,
you were talking to Hobbs.
Certainly The Rock cannot be so strong and tough that he can be falling down the side of a building and grab a rope with his bare hands and be perfectly fine, so much so that he was able to do it again a few minutes later. And that is when my friend who I was watching the show with shouted at me, "This is the type of movie that you need to turn your brain off for. Stop talking."
So it's not a movie for your mind.
It's not a movie for your mind. It's a movie for a certain part of your mind. It was really good. It's really cheesy, but it is. It was just as entertaining as most of those Fast and the Furious movies, which, I don't know, maybe that shouldn't be that shocking, but how often is a spinoff any good? Come on. Particularly when it comes to movies. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that they set up a sequel, and I hope that we get to see it, because it was dumb, basically superhero action. And if you like those Fast and the Furious movies,
I do not.
listeners, not talking to you.
I've never seen a full one.
That's embarrassing. You shouldn't admit that on the air. If you like those Fast and the Furious movies, like I do, you should see Hobbs and Shaw, even though it's a spinoff and does not star any of the original cast.
Oh, yeah.
That's it for me. So, John, you were so eager to tell me about what you like and don't like. Why don't you tell me what you liked this week?
I played a bit more of some MMOs. I played some Star Wars The Old Republic, and I was on Nar Shaddaa. And
I thought mine was boring. I'm kidding. Sorry.
The Nar Shaddaa in the Old Republic MMO, well, it's a better looking planet. Like, you can see, it looks like the cutscenes from this game, where it's like a big planet full of activity, and not like the actual corridors and hallways of Nar Shaddaa in the game.
Yeah, they set up Nar Shaddaa as an interesting place where, like, watch your step or you'll go flying over the edge and falling for hours. But in reality, it's just a bunch of steel platforms.
Yeah.
And steel corridors.
So it definitely looks a lot better in the Old Republic, but the mission design sucks so hard compared to this game. Like, the quests are a lot more fun, and well, the quests are about the same, actually, I would say, between the two. But the just the missions and locations are much nicer in a not MMO, because MMOs have bad level design, I think.
So are you suggesting that there were quests in this chunker?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I played this one all wrong, gang.
You don't have to do them, but there's a lot of side stuff. But the first half. It's weird. The first half of this chunk is so open, and the second half is so linear. But we'll talk about that. I also played some more Final Fantasy XIV and found a quest I liked that was very Final Fantasy-y. Where it's like, it's a main story quest where you're meeting up with these little sylphs, and the music turns into really good, like, Final Fantasy II style music, and it's just a lot of fun. You have to dance for them to get their attention, and I was just really enjoying it.
Hey, Johnny, did you pay for any sort of, like, jump ahead, or are you starting from scratch in the world of Final Fantasy?
I'm starting from scratch. I haven't bought any of the extra. I have one add-on, I think, maybe. So I'll pay, but I'm basically not going to pay for games until April, so other than the subscription to this one. So
judging from what I've heard, it sounds like you've got about 100 hours to go before you need to worry about that. So, and
given that I play about 3 hours a week, it's going to be a long time. Also, I watched what I thought, I was like, okay, this has got to be the season or series finale for The Good Place, right? Because it, like, ends on a really happy note. Is that a spoiler? Mm-hmm. Okay. It ends on a really note.
Yeah.
Ends on a note.
It could be the end.
It definitely could be the end, but there's 2 more episodes, I think.
I'm glad, because I'm very curious to see what they will see next.
Yeah, I'm very curious where the show goes. But I think the last couple episodes have been kind of boring. I'll have to rewatch them because maybe I just am missing something, or like they were so long between episodes that I'm a little lost, or like.
I understand what you're saying. The pace is slowed, I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's unraveling the end of the show in a very slow and leisurely manner, and there is no more dramatic tension. They kind of tried to bring some in this episode, and that doesn't really work, and I didn't buy it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I think that they are trying to leave us, when it finally does end, in a satisfied place.
Yeah.
But it's always been such a rapid show, even in its callbacks, and it doesn't coddle the audience. It's like I always felt watching it, you have to really be watching every moment because so much input is going on. And now it's feeling more like a character show.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch. Like maybe I'll because I've watched the first half twice, but I think I need to watch the last couple episodes of the first half to remember what's going on.
Well, that might make sense.
I'll give it a shot. And also, I've watched the fourth season of Angie Tribeca, and it is great.
Are they still making new episodes of that?
I don't know if they are. It's I get it a year later on Crave TV. But
is that the one with Rashida Jones?
Yeah. There's this amazing scene where she's a fugitive on the run, and this guy who's a cashier is not paying attention that to the news describing her. And then the newscaster lady's like, okay, guy at the convenience store, this is who I'm talking about. Look in front of you. They're right there. And he does. And then he reaches for a big pair of scissors, and it cuts to Rashida Jones, and she's got a giant rock, and she's like, and he starts to reach for a piece of paper next to him. She's like, don't, no, And that was a real thinker of a joke, and I loved it.
That's silly.
It's pretty fantastic.
Yep.
It's fun. She's really funny. I've been meaning to check that show out. I'll have to do that.
Yeah. And then also that joke that I sent you all of a lady seducing a young man. She's like, why don't we find out how many times 26 goes into 50? And then it shows her doing the math.
This sounds like a Naked Gun.
It
type
is.
show.
It is very much a Naked
That sounds
Gun,
amazing.
Show. Anyway, Jim.
Yeah.
How did you level up?
I don't know. You call it a level up. I embarrassed myself publicly, and I was going to tell you guys about it.
Yeah,
level down.
Sweet.
Level down.
So we had this offsite meeting at work at this corporate recreational facility where rich corporate people go to play handball and shit.
Gross.
And
Gross.
the afternoon activity was they reserved these courts for people to play basketball, and pickleball is a group activity. And I was like, hey, I'll play pickleball. So I grabbed a racket, and the guy who was explaining the rules was like, okay, get out on the court. And it was me and three other people. And he was explaining the rules, and one person hit the pickleball and it rolled away, and I tried to grab it and I missed, and I went to backpedal to get it because it rolled past me. And I totally fucking wiped out in front of the executive team of my company, and 40 people erupted in laughter all at the same time.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was I was on the court for 30 seconds before I fell down in front of everybody.
Aw.
And then my partner in the game, who's one of my coworkers, was like, "It's all right, nobody saw." And then he leaned in close to me, and he's like, "But everybody saw." So there's that, and then also I started watching a show on HBO called The Outsider, which is based on a Stephen King novel.
Ooh.
That's kind of hybrid true crime supernatural thing, and I thought the book was kind of shitty, but the show is really good. It's got Ben Mendelsohn and Jason Bateman in it.
Ooh.
And it's really good, and I recommend everybody watch it. It's super great.
Oh, good. I was thinking about watching it, but I assumed that you would watch it first and want to see what you thought.
Yeah, it's actually a lot darker than the novel, which is weird. It's super dark, which is cool, and the acting's really good. Vanessa, how did you level up?
Blessed be the fruit.
Thank you.
I have gotten back
Bananas.
into Handmaid's Tale.
Oh,
Apples.
I stepped away for it for a long
Tomatoes.
time, partially because the person I was watching it with found it to be too violent. So we did stop, but I have started again all by myself because I'm very brave, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm almost at the end of season 2, and then I think I have a whole season 3 to watch. It's a good show. The second season picks up beyond the book, so the first season essentially is the novel, and now they're expanding the world and getting deeper into some of the characters, and it's great. You know what the scariest part about that show is?
How
What?
much it
I'll
mirrors
tell-
modern day
yeah.
America.
Well, I would say that it's the relatability, but not that I relate to our heroine June. I think the scariest part for me is that I relate to some of the other characters. You guys may not know this, but I have a tendency towards a little bit of self-righteousness. A little bit of thinking that I am always right
you?
all the time. Yeah. And so when I see a character like your Serena Joyce, who is terrible, but also her go-to defense mechanism when she feels threatened is to just double down on the self-righteousness, hits a little bit close to home. I'm trying to learn not to be a Serena Joy and be more of a, I don't know, not really June. I mean, no one in the show is great. June does what she has to do. I guess I'd like to be Vanessa. just a better Vanessa, and not Vanessa Joy, the self-righteous, holier than thou.
I think you're a pretty
housewife.
good Vanessa.
Thanks, Matt.
You bring everyone Vanessa joy.
I do bring everyone Vanessa joy, and most of that stems from the fact that I'm always right about everything. So
That's true.
People can count on me to tell them the right thing to do, and if they don't do it, they'll be punished. Okay, that's how I leveled up.
We did it,
Well,
gang.
let's-
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Let's talk about Nar Shaddaa. Wait, in the Holocron.
Yeah, the
Time for the
holocron.
Holocron.
The Holocron.
How hollow is it? So, last time we finally got off Telos after meeting with Atris, who told us that we are very bad, but maybe we can be of some use by collecting some Jedi. So we're off to collect them all.
Oh, we also got a cutscene that we forgot. Oh no, we did mention it because he sounded like the Grinch, who's singing. Never mind.
Why are we
Yeah.
collecting the Jedi again?
We are going to get them all together
And
for
murder
a
them.
Jedi party, and then either murder them or figure out how we can save the galaxy.
Murder them.
From what?
We're not sure.
Probably that dude in the
No, I
spooky
mean-
mask that's on the cover of the game.
Yeah,
Probably
And
that.
you saw
Oh,
in the
did you guys
cutscene.
get a cutscene with that guy in it? I
yeah.
did.
Yeah, for sure. He
Yeah, I did as
definitely
well.
talks like somebody recorded his dialogue and played it backwards. It's terrible. Did you guys get dialogue for him? I just got his language.
Yeah, I just got his language that sounds like the Who's from Whoville.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mahurame, Mahura.
Exactly.
So we decide to go to Nar Shaddaa, a more wretched hive of scum and villainy you'll not likely find. Nar Shaddaa is sort of the portion we're in is a refugee sector. It's got a lot of crime going on. It's got a lot of war refugees.
I would like to point
And,
out that if you're Matthew, first you finished Telos, and you had to go talk to that lady, and she had your lightsaber, and it made me real mad.
But I get in this chunker, I get a lightsaber, so I was happy. And then once you get one, you just find them everywhere.
Yeah. Isn't that always the way? It's like you'll be looking for something forever, and then once you find it, you're like, oh, I have a dozen Phillips head screwdrivers just all over the place.
You buy a new car, and you think, like, this is cool. I don't really see these around as much. This is like a fun, I've seen 30 on my ride home.
So, we land at Nar Shaddaa, and there's a real, what's his name from the movie? Guido?
Oh, Greedo.
Greedo.
Yeah.
What's his race again? Rhodian? I think.
No,
No.
Rhodians are those other guys.
Yeah, Rhodians are the guys with the little pursed lips and the antennae.
And the like spiky
this
heads.
guy.
Oh wait, Greedo is a
Yeah,
No,
he's a Rhodian.
That's not Greedo. It's not Greedo's the dude who Han Solo shot.
Oh yeah.
Greedo is a
What
Rhodian.
is this guy's name in Phantom
The
Menace?
one with the uncircumcised nose.
Yeah, the flying
Yes.
one. That's a very clear stereotype.
Watto.
Watto.
Watto. Yeah, so Watto comes flying
He's
out
a
in his stupid
he's a
little wings.
Toydarian.
He's a Toy Darian. Thanks,
They
George
called him
Lucas.
a toy dog.
And this is
Wow.
Faza, right?
I'm just making up names and I'm signing checks.
Get out of here, George Lucas. No.
he's just gonna be a toy anyways.
George, you don't.
anyway.
No. George, get the heck out of here.
All right.
So,
So he comes
Faza.
flip-flapping out on his stupid little wings.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oi, you parking on my dock? You can't park here. Oi, oi, oi." Was that a good impression?
That was
Pretty good.
amazing Faza
Thank you.
impression.
So you can just like tell him to sod off. You can tell him a lie. What did you guys do to get rid of these guys?
I just told him, yeah, we're parking here. Like, I was like, don't worry about it.
I called his bluff. I was like,
I mean,
the exchange says it's cool, and he's like, oh, really? Nobody told me? I was like, go ahead and ask him.
Oh, yeah, he asked me. I did try to lie, and he's like, you don't work for the exchange.
I did successfully lie to him, and then I got my first dark side points, and I felt bad.
I thought about trying to force persuade him, but then I remembered that his species is immune to that. So then I told him to shut the fuck up or I'd kill him.
Oh, wow. What
That's
a movie
right.
reference.
Deep lore dive on
cut.
Watto.
Mm-hmm. Matt knows all about the Toydarians.
Yeah. Well, Matt really helped me out with the creation of the...
George Lucas, this is your last warning. You sold the franchise. We don't need to listen to you
He
anymore.
lives in my pocket.
So then we come across some panhandlers, and anyone give this guy some 5
Of
credits?
course.
Killed him.
You killed him?
Well, there's two guys. One is being shaken down by some ruffians, and the other one is but they both ask for money. Is that? Oh no, that's someone else. But when do you get the guys being shaken down by ruffians? I feel like that happened first.
I don't know, like all over on this planet.
Yeah.
It seems like I can't go 2 steps without a guy being shaken down by ruffians.
Or just straight up murdered.
Yeah. But I did give a guy 5 credits, and then Kriya like FaceTimed me in my mind to deliver me a lecture again on like the Fountainhead and who John
Yeah,
Galt
this
is.
one was particularly bad. Like saying that.
She's awful.
Well, okay, so there is something to be said about charity where you don't see the end results of it. Like if you look up what happened with Farm Aid in the 1980s, that is an example of what she's showing, is that when you give people money, you don't know what's going to happen with it. And in large sums, this can be a problem, like when you're giving money to dictators like Farm Aid did.
right.
That they just bought guns with.
Yeah.
Or not Farm Aid. Live Aid? What was that one called?
I don't know.
The one with the guy from that band.
Are you talking about Freddie Mercury?
No, well, I think he was part of it.
Freddie Mercury was definitely part of Live Aid.
The guy.
Are you talking about Bono?
No, the guy who sings that song.
Tom Petty?
I hate I hate Mondays. Is that what it is?
It's just
Garfield?
another manic
Yeah,
Monday.
it's Garfield. Anyway, but there can be in large quantities, if you don't understand in a culture who you're giving money to, sure there can be issues. But Kriya is saying very specifically, giving this guy 5 credits so he can buy food was a terrible decision. And you see what, like, she shows you a little movie of that guy being robbed and killed because you gave him money. And
Yeah, and she also talks about the 5 credits that he didn't earn as if he wasn't panhandling, which is a way to earn money when you don't have other ways to earn money. Like, it's not like panhandling is great and everyone loves to do it. It can be really difficult to be at that point in your life, and I'm sure it can be very humiliating, and it's dangerous, and it's like, I just hate Kriya. I hate her so much. She's awful.
I was thinking of Bob Geldof, but Freddie Mercury was there.
Oh, that Bob Geldof, the guy who hates Mondays.
The most
Live
famous
Aid was a
member who
big
performed at
deal.
Live Aid.
I think I was a little bit older than you, and he was like, it was like, oh, we're giving money to Ethiopia, and it's going to be amazing. Except that then it went to the dictators and not the weapons.
What band was
know.
Bob Geldof in?
The Boomtown Rats.
And which alien was this in the game?
Anyway, but yeah, the whole you don't know what's going to happen if you give someone money. It just it's so cloying and awful, and it just makes me hate Kriya.
Well, you're supposed to. She's bad.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, she's shitty.
She
She's the
actively.
shittiest character.
If I outright kill somebody, she gets mad. But if I just do something petty and cruel, she's like, "Yeah, that's the way to do it."
I've decided I'm going to do the opposite of whatever she says, because she always suggests like the cruelest thing.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's nice having somebody around who's like really telling you how to play the game right.
So after that, we get a smash cut to some bounty hunters.
Bounty hunters.
They're having a little party. There are two Twi'leks, two super horny Twi'leks. And let me tell you, I'm getting really tired of how horny the Twi'leks are in this game.
They are real horny.
Is it a game thing or is it a cross?
Mission wasn't
franchise
horny
thing.
in the first game. She was nice. Yeah,
No.
not that being
And-
horny isn't nice, but she was not just all over everybody.
No.
Well-
And also, the only Twi'lek that we have from the original series was a slave who was made to wear a skimpy outfit and dance and then was murdered. And now they're saying, like, those Twi'leks, they just love to wear skimpy
Had a
outfits. It's like,
great
no.
song though, you know.
She did have a great song.
Yeah. There is a Twi'lek in this chunker who's being hit on, and she's like, "Leave me alone," and then you can fight the guy or.
That's true.
Tell
Are
him
we
to
all
back
caught
off.
up on the Mandalorian at this point?
No. So but these Twi'leks are like, look at the beautiful Jedi. We're going to get the Jedi. We're sisters.
So were they real
Bang.
into
And
you?
leather bikinis.
Were they real into you as well? Because they were super into me. I was the handsome Jedi.
Yeah, they were into me. I was the beautiful Jedi.
Ooh.
There's a human and a Wookiee. And there's also a couple other different species just clustering around.
Didn't we have an evil Wookiee in the first game too?
No, well,
He wasn't evil. Mission's friend. He was great.
That's right, I
What's
had
his
to kill
name?
him.
Zardaz?
Mhm.
Zaldaz?
Zardoz.
But this Wookiee is Hanhar.
Mhm.
Was this Wookiee in the first game?
I don't think so.
Good question.
He seems familiar to me.
They all seem pretty familiar.
It does definitely feel like the type of thing that is like the easiest thing to do. Like, we're gonna do a Wookiee, but it's gonna be totally evil.
I don't think he was in the first one.
I guess I'm thinking of the other evil Wookiee. I'll be honest, Wookiees all kind of look the same to
Oh
me.
wow! Yoink.
Well, I think the one you're thinking of was more
Problematic.
gray, and this one's more brown.
Okay.
I can't remember his name, but he was the one who went Red Claw or something, and really hated Zalbaz.
Mad Claw. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Zalbar,
Anyway,
yeah.
Zardoz.
Mhm.
Also nicknamed Big Z,
Yes.
according to this wiki entry.
nice. So this Wookiee starts arguing with the human, Mira. Mira is, she's got red hair. She has sort of like a red pixie cut. She has a crop top. She has very tight pants. Mira is our sexy bounty hunter.
You can
character.
tell that she is an obsidian design because she kind of looks like a blow-up doll.
Yeah. And Hanar's like, I'm in life debt to you. I hate it. You suck. And she's like, I don't want your stupid life debt. And he's like, I hate you. So
I feel like those
they have
two
a
are like
complex
one long
relationship.
conversation away from sorting everything out.
And banging.
Mhm.
Oh,
Whoa.
Matt ships
wow.
it.
Yep. Well, no. I mean,
It's like a.
Matthew's slash fic is interesting.
Wouldn't that be like a bit of a reverse childbirth?
Excuse me?
What?
Never
wait,
mind.
what?
Let's.
What are you saying, John? No, John. What do you? Can you unpack that a little bit?
I understand what he's saying.
Is that a reference to?
I think he's just saying that the Wookiee has a big hog.
That was I've never heard sex called reverse childbirth. I'm gonna use that on my next day for some reverse childbirth. Yikes!
Let's get this baby back up in you.
This is why you don't see
This
like
baby back up in your guts, girl.
half Wookiees.
Half Wookiees?
Yep. You never see them.
Oh. Well, there's me. I mean, you've seen me after a
That's
nap.
true.
So according to the notes here, someone named Kalana can give you tips. I have no idea who that is. I cannot remember these people's
He was
names.
Bat
Who is
Boy. He's
Kalana?
Bat Boy.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
such a fucking parade of aliens that are familiar takes on versions of these characters we've seen before, right? And it
There's a
is
lot of gleep plots.
impossible to keep track of who is who and what's happening. It's just a
can't-
bunch of bleep bloop nonsense.
have they shown this bat race before? that just
Yeah,
speaks?
this one was. I think it was in Mos Eisley.
It's adorable, and I love it.
It is pretty cute.
I
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about. I must have missed this.
This is
this
he's
the
outside
quest
the
giver?
Pazak den.
Is this the quest giver? Is this the thing that I missed that like tells me?
No.
Because
This
this
is
whole
the
run
thing-
for me was going to places and doing things in reverse order, basically.
Yeah, you were just stumbling around. Well, there's a guy in his workshop right when we get off the ship, and I had Baudur with me, and he knows this guy. So he's like, "Is that you? It's me."
Whoa, Vanessa, his voice acting is way
Baudur.
worse than this.
Hello, remember me? It's Baudur.
Gotta pretend like you don't know English and you're just sounding out the words.
I kind of like him. I think he's got an interesting delivery that I
Excuse
don't
me?
dislike.
Excuse me.
No, he.
I
just
love
talks
Baudur,
like
and
this.
look, there
No.
has been some Baudur shit talk on our Facebook group, and I am not having it. I love Baudur.
I'm here for
I
it.
like
He's
him
the
too.
worst character in the game.
His arm is fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So stupid looking. It looks like he's got a piece of blue spaghetti connecting a fucking prosthetic to his arm.
He's got one of those sour punch straws just holding his wrist to his elbow.
I was just hoping that he would
is,
shoot
like,
his arm
It looks like,
at people.
yeah, it looks like it will kill you if you brush against him.
Yeah,
accidentally.
it does for sure. Or alternately, just like misfire and shut down. Like, how often does that hand just drop off because somebody accidentally crosses the stream there?
Or he forgets to leave it on
And
a
if you
charger.
grab his hand and pull on it really hard, can you pop it off?
Do moths like always hang around him when he's outside, zapping into his arm?
There's just little puffs of smoke coming
So,
off all the
There's a
time.
lot of people with disabilities and with like stuff like limbs missing in this game, and your main character has dialogue choices to like do the worst thing in the world, which is ask them about it. Like, how'd you lose your arm? Why are you blind? What's wrong with your eyes?
Oh, yeah. You have this option with Kriya to be like, what's up with your eyes? It's like, what do you mean, what's up with her
Why
eyes?
would you need
Also,
to ask? Kriya's a corpse. It's very obvious that is a dead body with a Jedi ghost in it.
there's been like 2 major wars. It wouldn't be that unusual to see people with, various injuries.
And I also think this is kind of one of the few games that has a large cast of people with disabilities, which is really interesting. And you don't see it a
it's
lot
cool.
in games.
That is true.
I have a real problem with this game in that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm playing Dark Side, so I'm doing a lot of things that I don't particularly like doing, like dealing with slavers and stuff. But whenever it comes to talking about the Jedi, I'm very much on my character's side, where I'm like, wait, fuck the Jedi. They're terrible.
Well, what's interesting is when your character is talking about Jedi, there's no option of saying, I was wrong and they were right. Pretty much. You're like, no, I did what I did. I know what I said.
Yeah, that's true. You're constantly defending your actions.
Yeah.
But I don't think
I've
that your
seen
actions
a couple
are...
of options.
I don't disagree with... Yeah, I think so too, Vanessa. I don't disagree with the options that my character took for the most part, though. Like, it's been spelled out pretty clearly where old Jellicle Katt's been like, well, I know you told me not to do this, but millions and millions of people were dying, and I didn't feel like I could just sit this one out. And you know what? Good for you. Fuck the Jedi. And the Jedi are like, well, things would have worked out, definitely would have worked out better if you hadn't done that. And it's prove that, fella. You can't. So shut the fuck up.
Your arrogance can only lead to the dark
That's
side.
horseshit.
So the whole point of this first half is you want to be like get notoriety with Goto, who's like an exchange gangster, so that he'll hire bounty hunters to find you.
Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, because you want to find Jedi David Crosby.
I don't know who Goto is.
We want to find the Jedi, and therefore we want to like bang around and make a whole bunch of noise in order to get the attention of the important people on this planet.
Okay, I clearly missed a cutscene.
And we also want this guy in the garage who Baudur knows to rewrite the landing signature of the Ebon Hawk so we won't be pursued as much.
I liked this guy.
We also want to find a lightsaber. In fact, if your character's name is Jellicle Katt, that's actually kind of all that you care about.
I did get one.
Well,
I
Baudur talks
You got a
about
lightsaber
how you
already?
can build one.
Yeah, you can get
I got
one
a
here.
lightsaber too.
I got
I don't have
3
one yet.
lightsabers now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to back it up. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to load a save back to before I split the party up to go do the stuff that we'll talk about. Because I don't think after that point you can go and like get that lightsaber.
Yeah,
I wonder if I have all the pieces and I just haven't built it yet.
Yeah, I built one.
Oh, really?
I went to Baudur and I'm like, hey, do I have all the pieces for a lightsaber? And he's like, not yet. You still need a lens. And then I went more and I was like, now do I have them? He's like, not yet. You still need a power source. But eventually I have
Yeah,
them.
I have 2
And
of the
he built
4
one for
pieces,
me.
but I have not
think
been able to
it's-
find.
Isn't it 3? Isn't it?
I think it's 4.
No, it's like lens, crystal, emitter, and power source, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can also just find one.
Yeah.
Where do you find one at?
Well, I'll tell you when we get
Yeah.
to
Well, let's
So-
get there.
it. So we can go talk to this bat, call Na, who's like, you can pay him like 20,000 credits
2,000.
to spread
2,000.
bad rumors
Yeah.
about you.
That
I didn't.
that
do
way, like basically, if you want to skip doing side quests, you could just do that. You talk to
Well,
him.
I did this out of desperation because I felt like I did every side quest and I still like the game kind of advances on you. Like you get the attention of the exchange and then the game kind of pushes you forward. That wasn't happening for
Yeah,
me. So
me
John's like, well, I murdered the entire exchange, so I went and did that and still was having trouble. So I paid this little bat guy money, and then I was just wandering around, and you have to go to the landing pad for it to trigger, and I just wasn't doing that.
Had the guys already gone on the ship? Because that's part 1.
Yes, I went to the landing pad, and that's when I got ambushed by the Red Eclipse guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get the cutscene where the Red Eclipse went on the ship and Baudur gets knocked out by Kriya until I killed everyone in the exchange.
What?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So we're
game.
wandering around. We can head down to the refugee sector, and there are some good or bad deeds to be done down there. there are sort of two camps bothering the refugees. One is the Serco veterans, who I guess are from a particular battle, and they're just all about themselves. And the other one is the exchange. There's a woman whose daughter has been taken by the exchange.
I found. Okay, so the game's like, oh, do you want... I talked to the guy who leads the exchange, and he's like, oh, Sakwesh. And he's like, you want to buy freedom for this girl? And it's like, I don't know who this girl is. I haven't talked to anyone related to this girl, but sure.
I had the same thing. I had a similar thing happen, John, except I found the girl.
Oh.
And it was like, do you want to rescue her? And I was like, not really. And then my only other option was, well, bye, because I had not picked up this quest at all.
Yeah, I don't think this quest ever shows up on your thing, does it?
I went.
I
there's a
found the
lady you
mom
can talk to.
afterwards.
Yeah, I bet if you find the mom first. No?
I found the mom, and then I let her go, but then, like, it never felt like anything resolved.
I talked to the mom, and she's like, thanks for getting my daughter back.
I mean, if you talk to the daughter,
Oh,
she's
see-
like happy to be going. She's like, at least somebody will care if I live or die there. Here, I am just meat. It was
See,
real
And
dark.
then, like, I didn't hear anything else about it until I killed the exchange guy.
Oh.
And then I tried to intimidate him, and it didn't work. And he's like, and so I just had to kill him.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too.
I talked to, there's a sick guy, and I healed him, which is a very nice thing to do. He gave me a bit of a lightsaber, like a lightsaber piece.
Yeah, me too.
But then I told the exchange guy, hey, there's someone who's super sick here. You need to give these people more space so that they aren't so sick all the time, like so they can have hygiene and stuff. And that would have won, like that resolved the quest for the refugees, like the guy, the huckster or whatever his name is, Hassan, the guy who's like the leader, is like, oh, thank you, you've solved our problems. Because I told the Sirocco, it's like, oh yeah, I know the best way to take out the exchange is to like pincer them from both sides, and then they all died. They just all immediately ran to kill the exchange based on my advice, and all died. And so I solved the problems for the refugees, but the game wouldn't advance until I went and genocided the exchange.
Oh, golly.
Yeah, I had to kill so many Gamorreans. I don't want to do that.
I told the sick guy that he should just off himself, and he did. And then I told Harold, whatever his name was, that he should just give up.
Oh yeah, I saw that option.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Well, I like in this game that there's.
And then I killed the Sirocco guys. Like I just ran through that place and murdered every single one of them.
I do like that there are persuade options in this game. It's something we talked about with Outer Worlds. There's persuade options that are bad and like don't help anything, like telling them you should just give up.
Yeah,
become.
I mean,
slaves.
if I see force persuade and it sounds like it's the wrong thing to do, I use it every time.
There are also some Twi'lek down here who approach you and offer to sell you some information, which I did buy. And they say, yeah, we know that Atton guy. His name's not Atton, and he totally sucks. Like, so watch out for that dude.
They said that he's not they said he's a murderer.
Yes. Which is exactly what Kriya's been calling him. So I, at this point, actually had a lot of influence with Atton. So I went up to him and I'm like, hey, buddy, what's up with this? And he got real defensive. He got really self-righteous. He's like, what's up with you? The Jedi suck. You're terrible. I hate the Jedi. They're all awful. And I was like, that's it, buddy. Just like let it out.
Yeah, this is what I did too. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, the Jedi didn't come when people needed them. They're awful. I hate the Jedi. But then I managed to get some more information out of him. So I was like, well, why don't you tell me about, like, what happened to you? And he's like, I don't ask you questions about your past. And I'm like, come on. Like, we're traveling together. I think I should know. He's like, fine. You want to know? I was in the Republic Army, and the Jedi didn't come. And then Revan came, and it was cool. I love Revan. Yeah. Revan destroyed everything. So, after that, I became a straight-up flippin' Sith.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What?
I got this too.
Atton joined the Sith army.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he fought against the Jedi?
Not only did he fight against the Jedi, do you want to know what his job was?
Sure.
Jedi torturer.
Whoa.
Yeah, he said he killed a Jedi.
He killed multiple Jedi. His job was to find Jedi and send them to be tortured so they'd fall to the dark side or to be killed. And then he says that he had this one experience where he found this Jedi and she formed a mind connection with him and showed him the Force. And for the first time, he felt all life and everything. And he's like, and I loved her, not like romantically, but it was just like pure life connection love.
The Jedi was you.
And I hated. No, and then he's like, and I hated that she showed me this because I'd been heckin' killing all the Jedi. And so then he did kill her, but he felt her die because the link was still open.
Oh.
And it heckin' messed him up. And he was like, now I don't know what to do. I'm just going to go be a rapscallion man around town and pretend that I'm not a straight up Sith Jedi torturer.
He also says that the reason why he didn't feel those things before from other Jedi was because he says that if he concentrated on feeling things like lust and displaying sarcasm, then it put up walls in his brain to not let the Jedi in.
Oh.
Yes, he does say that. And he says also this Jedi told him that he was Force sensitive and that the Sith would take him away and torture him. And he believed her. And so he ran away.
Huh.
And at this point, you have the option to be like, fuck you, get the heck out of here. Or you can tell him you want to think about it. Or you can do what I did and was like, well, that's a sad story. Do you want to be a Jedi?
Does he?
And guess what? He does.
Ah.
So right there in the middle of the refugee
Yep.
camp.
Right
I
next to
taught
those
him
two
to
Twi'leks that just...
Yeah, right next to those two Twi'leks.
That's what I did too.
I taught him to open his mind and his heart and let the Force in. And he became a Jedi Sentinel. Just
What?
Like
Wow.
What?
Yep. Atton is a Jedi.
that
Is
was
it only a
Next.
light side path? I really am kind of into this. I would like to have a team of all Jedis.
That
I don't know, bro, but that's what happened to me.
the next chunker would have been so much easier with the Jedi.
Yeah, I gave him Destroy Droid, and it came in handy.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's a Jedi now, and then he's just like, yeah, I guess I'm a Jedi. Cool. So that's what happened with that. Then what do we do? After we're done in the refugee sector, we pop back upstairs, and I ran into this guy who's like, "What's up? You have my ship." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "The Ebon Hawk. That's my ship. It was stolen from me right before the Mandalorian Wars. Give me my ship back." And as a Jedi, I was like, "Okay."
See, here's where I think more of this is where Kriya's thing of you don't know the results of the good you think you're doing makes sense. This is a much better thing of than just giving 5 credits to someone. You think you're doing good by giving him his ship back, but you do not do good by doing that.
No, it's true, because I guess if you'd stopped to think about it, you would have remembered that every Sith in the galaxy is tracking your ship and trying to kill you.
Even though I'm playing a good Jedi, I was like, yeah, he's probably going to get killed anyways flying that ship. It's good to get rid of it.
Mhm. So this guy waltzes back to the ship and he's like, "Oh, it's so nice to be back on my ship." And then an alien jumps out and is like, "Guapo, guapo, guapo, guapo." And then you just cut back to your party.
Mm-hmm.
So here's when you can run back to your ship.
Well, you also get the
And,
cutscene of the Red Eclipse talking to Fasa. They're real mad that we landed on that landing pad.
Oh, yeah. They're like, "Why did you let them land here?" And he's like, "They said they were with the Eclipse." And they're like, "You idiot."
Yeah.
So you can run back to your ship and fight through some red eclipse. I did fight them all, and at the end, the guy was there who had come onto the ship, and he was like, you know what? You can have this ship.
Yeah.
Bye. He's like, it's a gift to you.
See, and my response, there was no nice response. It was like, thank you for the gift. No, get out of here. It's like,
Yeah.
that doesn't seem like a very good Jedi thing to say.
No. It's just like, you tried to take my ship, dingus. I had another encounter on the ship at this
Me
point.
too.
I don't know if any of you all did.
I sure
John
did.
did too. Wherein your character walks onto the ship and you're shown sort of like looking around, like something's off. And that woman who was talking to Masky Dude is there, the blind lady. And she does have a lightsaber. And you do fight her, and then she's like, you broke my lightsaber. She pledges her life to you because you are the stronger one, and she does want you to kill her, but I did not. Instead, I took her to the med bay, and now she's like, I guess I'm like your slave now or whatever, and I'm like, no, you're not. But she's like, I love you. You're so strong.
Wow.
I'm going to follow you forever.
Yeah, I got her in my party too. She mostly talks about how she's from Qatar, or which was this planet that all the Jedi were having a big party on, and then her new Sith master came there and like glassed the planet. Just killed everyone except for her and took her in as its Padawan.
Yes.
So she doesn't really know who that dude or person is, but won't tell you much about it. At least I couldn't get money. Well, no, she was evading. I didn't have the influence to get her to tell me more about this person that is hunting all the Jedi.
Yeah. But she, I guess, is in your party now, so that's cool.
She's very weak. Like, she
is
I
very
don't know
weak.
what's up with that. She gets killed very, very, very easily. And
But she does have force powers.
yeah, but her destroyed droid doesn't wreck droids like my main Jedi. She doesn't seem to be spec.
Maybe she needs to work
Well,
on
I think
that.
she might be more of a combat Jedi, and I'm more of a magician Jedi.
A consular.
Yeah.
Matt, Jim, did you fellas get this lady?
I did. I haven't used her yet, though.
I also think Matt had a different ending with the Red Eclipse than we did.
He did.
I didn't get a lady. It's a bummer, but I did have a different ending with the Red Eclipse. When I was fighting them and killing all of them, they stopped me and asked me, I don't know, to explain myself. And I was like, well, your lives are mine. So, do you want to die, or do you want to be my gang? And they're like, well, you know we're slavers, right? And I was like, I said, do you want to die? Or do you want to be
die?
my gang? And so now I have a gang.
Cool.
Got my own gang.
Flavors.
Well, I'm going to turn them into pure-hearted saints.
Sure you are.
Probably a Jedi or two among them.
So do they like hang around the ship, or what do they do?
I believe that they hang around the ship. Or no, they send a representative to the bar, I think, and I can go talk to him if I want to mess with him, which I have not done yet. But I did read ahead a bit, and I do know that I think that some point later they're going to be on the ship helping me out with something.
Oh, that's
Nice.
nice.
One thing I appreciated about all these dudes being on the ship is that there's so many of them, but if you find the leader guy and kill him, then the whole encounter ends, which is nice that you don't have to run around the ship and kill all of them.
Oh no, I ran around and killed them all.
You must have just ran into that guy last.
And I was like, I'm going to clean my whole ship
I was
out.
really hoping in the next chunker that you could run away from all the gangs after you, but you can't.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can open a door or trigger a cutscene, but also sometimes you can get killed while the cutscene's happening. And
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
So then we get a phone call from a squidman, Bisquick,
Yep.
and he's like,
I like that these are really Cthulhu looking guys.
Yeah. This is
oh, Jim does love a Cthulhu.
I do love a Cthulhu.
they're kind of a mind flayery looking thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, will you please come to the Tar Bar and meet with me? And then your friends are like, you can't go to the Tar Bar. It's a gas bar where aliens go to inhale gassy air. And if you go in there without protection, like a gas mask and a suit, your skin will peel off because of the acidity level or something.
Did you
Sounds
guys
like my bedroom, right, guys?
Oh, yikes.
They say that, but I did some side quests in there before, and I was fine.
I know. In fact, I went into this bar a few times when I was trying to find a way to trigger the
Me
next
too.
part of the game.
Yep.
And I had Atton in there, and it made me laugh because if you have Atton, if you go to like the part where all the little guys are that don't talk, the Gand, yeah, you can run around in there, and Atton will get poisoned, and his dialogue when he's poisoned is, "Oh man, I'm poisoned."
Yeah, I had Visas. Visas is the blind. Well, she's not blind. She's part of a species that looks human but aren't human. They're called Miralan or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And I'm playing one as a Jedi in the Old Republic, which is interesting. But there's a side quest here I just want to talk about real fast where you have to find a Gand warrior by talking to them. I guess there's some kind of logic puzzle. I could not figure that one out.
I couldn't either.
Vanessa, did you?
Yeah, I had to look up
How
to
do you
it.
do that?
So there's the Gand all refer to themselves in third person, and they're like, the Gand are the Gand. Your goal is to find out the name of a great Gand warrior who is among them. And there's one Gand who, one line of dialogue, he'll say, instead of the Gand's accomplishments are nothing to brag about, he'll say, my accomplishments are nothing to brag about. But you have to have like a character with high awareness to pick up on that, and then your character will say, you just used first person. And he's like, oh, you caught me. If you're a really good warrior in the Gand, you get to use first person and have the right to be seen as an individual. But it's kind of like braggy to do it, so I don't do it.
But there's also like 40 Gands in there.
There's 40 Gands. There are so many Gands.
How long did it take you to find the right Gand?
Well, once I looked up the walkthrough, not very long at all, but I think I had talked to all of the Gand before I figured it out. Because my character's awareness wasn't high enough. So it's like, even if you do and you don't have the awareness, you can't get
Well, fortunately, they're all dead in my playthrough, so I don't have to worry about this quest anymore. Problem solved.
Yeah. Well, so the way the quest ended is he told me his name, and then I went to the guy, but he's like, please don't tell anyone else. Our names are really secret. So I went to the guy, and I'm like, I found out, but it's a secret. And he's like, well, shoot. And that was the end of the quest. So we're heading to the Tar Bar, and we decide to wear that spacesuit that we got before.
I thought you had to go buy one. Like I was looking for breath masks or whatever to stop you from being poisoned.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any. I was like, uh-oh.
No.
Where do you get this suit at?
You don't.
'Cause- Oh,
You already have
I
it.
tried
it's the
to
one that
equip
you had on
it.
the mining facility.
Okay, I tried to equip it before I went in there, and I didn't have anything in my inventory. And then, and spoiler alert, we're about to get to it. When that lady takes it from you, she's like, oh, I'm gonna take that spacesuit, and I was like, what spacesuit? I don't have one.
But you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're on your way to the Tar Bar, and Mira ambushes you. Although I think that it can be Hanar who ambushes you.
Yes.
Matt, did Hanar ambush you?
Yes, it was Hanar.
So when Mira ambushed me, she was like, hey, you're walking into a trap, but I, Mira, am super cool. I'm going to go in your place, and it will be great. And then you're like, no, you're heckin' not. And she's like, well, come over to my house. And you start talking about how her house stinks. You're like, man, your house smells. How can you live here with the smell? And she's like, oh, you get used to it. It smells pretty good. And you're just like, this reeks. I hate your house. It's so stinky. And eventually she tells you, yeah, that smell is a knockout gas, and I have olfactory blockers. Good night.
So,
and you pass
what
out.
happens with Hanhar? Matt?
He's vaping. Give him a moment.
The vape is his response.
Hanhar offers to go ahead of you and hang out by whatever the guy's name is that you're supposed to meet. And then
This quick.
basically says that when you come in to talk to him, the two of you will make a new plan, which I think implies that we're going to kill that dude, which sounds pretty great to me.
Why does Hanhar want to kill him with you?
Did y'all get the cutscene with Hanhar and the lady?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
a couple of them. There's the one where he's got the life debt to her and hates her. And then there's the one later, but we haven't got there yet.
Well, I got one where he sort of was dangling her over the edge of the landing pad.
I got that one too.
Yeah, me too.
And he's like, if I kill you, then I don't have a life debt anymore.
What's his name that you're going to meet has betrayed Hanhar in the past, and Hanhar wants to betray him back.
Oh, Viscous?
Cool.
I guess. I hope that I don't know what's going to happen here, but fingers crossed that Hanhar joins my party and is my sweet evil Wookiee buddy.
So while I was passed out, the Jedi we're looking for shows up. And he's like, hey, you're totally unconscious. Don't worry, I'm not going to take advantage. But I just want you to know that your friend is walking into a trap, so I'm going to go save her. And I don't know if you're here to kill me or just talk to me, but if you want to see me, you better come too. Bye.
Cut to Atton.
Atton!
Oh, this part sucks.
Yeah. So Atton, he had been chasing after you, and he's like, please be careful. And you're like, yeah, just wait somewhere. He's like, I know where to wait. And then you see him in the bar, and he's just like, yeah, give me some Jub Jub juice. It's me, Atton Rand, having a good time. And then these horny Twi'lek sisters walk up to him, and they're like, hi, mister. We see you are enjoying some Jub Jub juice. Would you like to enjoy our Jub Jub juice?
This is turning into that episode of Community where Brie Larson's singing. Brie Larson?
Yeah.
Where Allison Brie sings.
No. Yeah, you're right.
Is it Baby It's Cold Out? No, Santa Baby.
Well, no, she has a new song. And
Teach me all to know
About
about
Christmas.
Christmas. Mistletoe for eating tastes good.
That's perfect, Vanessa.
Me dummy, you're smart.
It's the best.
Boopy doopy doop doop sex.
So let's have a conversation about this whole deal. These two ladies decide to attack Atton, and
Well, at first he's acting like he's flirting with them, and then he's like, I know you're assassins.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to be straight up with you. This is where Matthew quit. Because I died and I died and I died and I died. Suddenly you have to control Atton solo, and he's terrible. And it's terrible.
His name's not Atton Solo. His name's Atton Rand.
We'll see what happens by the end of this game. You have to control Atton, and he's terrible. And I could not beat these two ladies. I'm going to have to try again this week sometime, probably with God mode on, because I don't know what else to do.
It was hard.
I switched to melee because they have energy shields that repel blasters. Or absorb blaster damage, but they have no defense against melee. But I also run them around and threw concussion grenades and got one of them to stop attacking me because it was too far. Because I basically concussed her and then ran to the other side of the room. And so I could fight one at a time. And then I used my melee staff. But yeah, I died 4 times or something.
I ran around and I did cheat, not with like invincibility, but I gave myself like 20 or 25 frag grenades and then ran around just tossing grenades at them until they were dead.
I just have so many grenades anyways. I've never bought
I
any.
only had like 13. I thought I had more than that, but I threw a bunch at them until I only had like 4 left, and then I gave myself like 20 more.
Mm-hmm. Vanessa?
I just had the invulnerability mode on. So but it took so long because Atton does like 2 damage with his stupid blaster.
I got this weird staff. I think it's called the Force Staff, and it's really good. And it's one of the few melee weapons that Atton can use, and it sliced through their shields, so that was useful.
Oh. Maybe I'm sure there's a tactic of like using this kind of weapon to take down the shields and then this kind of whatever else, but I was just standing there being like, pew,
I was
pew,
also, because they were
pew,
attacking me with melee, so I used the melee shield on myself.
Oh,
That's a good
that's
idea.
smart.
Yeah, that cuts down their damage a lot.
I've been auto-leveling Atton and the other side characters because I don't care about them, and he sucks.
Yeah,
I've
stopped auto.
It's terrible.
I stopped auto leveling, and started doing, because you want to have like flurry or like lots of shots. There's one that gives you multiple shots. That one's useful.
Yeah, double shot. That's good.
I mean, just ranged combat in this game, particularly if you're solo. I mean, it sucks, gang. What are you supposed to do? Like,
Han Solo is not in this game, as I have told you before.
Throw your lightsaber.
I
Ham
guess,
Solo?
except for all I have is a gun, so all I can do is you can run away, but like this isn't that type of game. This isn't an action game. Like they're gonna hit you. Doesn't really matter where you are.
You can go around corners and then they won't attack you. That's how I got through the next part in the bar. Because the next part in the bar is really hard.
Yeah. So, it's one way or another, Atton defeats these sisters. But it did take so long that I started to think, am I supposed to be knocked out? Is this one of those kind of game moments where you have to be taken prisoner or something? No, it just sucks. So then we cut to the Jellicle bar, where Mira, in my case, is wearing the spacesuit.
Walking in the spacesuit when you have turbo mode on is one of the funniest things. Because it's like the legs move so fast. Like,
and you head back to the private room where Visquick is waiting. And he's like, oh, you can breathe in here. Why don't you take off your suit? And she does. And the Wookiee gets all outraged. He's like, oh, no, it's you. And the squid had a great line, which was, oh, I assume this isn't the Jedi then. I can't actually tell the difference between humans. And then he decides to take her prisoner, because the Jedi will probably come for
Well, she
her.
thinks she's all cool, but she didn't know that Bisquick had a lot of traps, and he got a big zappy trap that he traps her in.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to know what happened with Matt, but he's gone.
Well, Matt didn't get this
he didn't
far.
make it this far.
Oh, right.
So now cut back to your Jedi, who's been told by Jedi David Crosby, who's got a big old mustache and is bald and looks very 70s. He's got a real 70s look. He kind of has a scumbag look to him, which maybe isn't.
He does. This is a guy you want to avoid.
Yeah. So he tells you to go to the Jellicle Tar bar, and now the whole bar, including all those Gans that were the quest, so that I never finished, attack you, and you have to kill them.
Yeah, why? This part is really frustrating because you're going to meet the Bisquick guy, and you're like, okay, I just got to get to that private lounge. So you fight all the guys to get to the private lounge. It's like, oh no, he's not here. He's in the spa. You go to the spa. Oh wait, he's not here. He's in a secret hideout. You get to the secret hideout. Oh no, he's not here. He went through a secret escape route or whatever. It's so frustrating.
I think you can run through this and just talk to the Twi'leks at the end. You don't have to
I
kill
couldn't
anybody.
find a way to open the doors while I was being attacked.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And so I had to like, I was dying a lot, so I had to like hide around corners and then like pick off people one by one. And there's 50 people in here, so that took a while.
And then you do eventually get to the tunnels, which is a maze, I guess.
I guess so. A Twi'lek employee, you can probably handle this dark or light side. I was just nice to her, and she's like, "Oh, he went that way. Go through this door."
Yeah, that's what I did too.
And I was like, "Oh, thanks, lady." And she's like, "Careful, there's some traps in there."
Mm-hmm. Oh, we didn't mention that Kriya force times us
Right.
and tells us that we can breathe
Force times.
or just like live on the oxygen in our lungs.
Yeah, you like you use the breath control power and you make like a bubble around yourself.
But once again, I reiterate, I breathed fine when I was trying. I had the gym problem of trying to get to the second half of this chunker. But yeah, I breathed with no problem.
The gym problem is going to be the title of my autobiography.
So the maze is short. You just get like, I took 2 left turns, I think, and got to the right door. Apparently there's some other parts I missed, but who cares?
That's what I did as well, because if you're trapped in a maze, listeners, just keep taking left turns until you can't anymore, and then take a right, and you'll probably get through.
And Vanessa, I think the door won't open, and it cuts to Bisquick being like, "Ha ha ha ha! The Jedi will never get through this door. Bahu maha,
Bisquick
Flupo."
is talking to his minions, and he's like, "Guess what? That door only opens from the inside. And also you, my minions, are here. This particular race of people who hates Jedi. So even if the Jedi gets through, they'll be in for a surprise when they run into you guys.
Oh, yeah.
My minions who hate
Don't
Jedi."
forget their name, Vanessa. What's the name of these kind of aliens?
I
The
forgot.
Ubies. It's just
What?
obese
That can't
with
be
a
right.
U.
Oh, no.
I believe it is. I believe I've got this.
They aren't obese, though.
No, they're Ubies.
Oh, these are the weird mouth guys.
Weird. Okay, so you know when Leia is dressed like a weird robot in the Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, and they're like, because he's holding a thermal
That she's
detonator."
dressed like that's Bosch is the character she's pretending to be, and that's an Ubies.
Oh, who knew?
Yeah.
Probably lots of nerds out there knew that, but
I
I
mean,
didn't.
I definitely knew. Huh?
George!
So you we haven't really talked in this version about how when you're listening to aliens talk, so even if it's like a 3-line sentence or 3-word sentence, they can talk for like 5 minutes if you don't skip through it. They'll be like,
Yes, their languages are so long.
Olopa, kala pikita, oh, zo- and it's just like, yes.
And it's the same audio clips recycled. Like, they didn't pull like a BB-8
It was particularly
Force Awakens
bad
thing where they had a
with
guy
the
come
twin
in.
sons because they sound, it's the same voice lines by the two. I guess they're twins, so that does make sense.
Mhm.
And he doesn't know about Christmas.
Oh, no. That's not. You're going to need a whole rendition. Ugh. Like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah. So we get to the store and we're like fiddling with it. Smash cut
Yay!
to Mira.
Or Hanar.
I guess.
Who does
We don't
Hanar
know.
fight, I wonder?
Mira.
Oh.
Makes sense. The game tried to explain to me that Mira has a rocket launcher.
Yeah,
and can fire
she can.
tranquilizer
Yeah,
darts
she
and
fires
stuff.
darts, missiles, and grenades.
I don't understand how that works.
It's one of her. It's on her arm. It's one of her arm attachments. It takes the place of where you put like
Hmm.
an Achani shield.
Oh.
And if you go through the grenade menu, she's got all these extra things like darts and missiles, and she could use that because they're now forced to fight each other for the benefit of Bisquick.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, Bisquick is like, Hanar, I got you a present. It's this human you hate. And I didn't disarm her because I thought you'd want to fight.
mhm.
How'd you guys defeat Hanar?
I'm
Very Hanardily.
Mira doesn't set off mines, so I made him walk through all the mines in the room.
That's what
Yeah.
I did, and he gets poisoned
Yep.
and blowed up, and
The dogs were harder than Hanhar.
yeah.
I found Hanhar very easy. He went down super quick for
Yeah,
me.
same.
And then with the dogs, I did the thing of making them run through the mines.
Yeah.
Were there still mines?
Yeah, because I didn't really move for the Hanhar fight.
Oh. I made Hanhar run through every single mine.
Me too. That was fun.
So after you fight the hounds, Mira finds like a key on a corpse of a houndskeeper.
I think because
Dead, by the way. Not a very good houndskeeper if they kill him.
No.
I think Bisquick kind of he said that if she kills Hanhar, she'll have her freedom or something, and he betrays her immediately by releasing the hounds on her.
You knew he was going to release
It's
the
true.
hounds.
Yeah, so you find the key on that bad hound handler guy or beast handler. I went through like every wrong door to get out of here, and then suddenly had 50 obese guys running after me, and then I had to like kill them one by like making them get caught in doors, and
Oh, no.
it took me a long time.
Yeah, but you run around, you do find an exit door, and you're essentially, it says you can open all of the doors and run
See,
away.
This whole chunker took me 8 hours. Well, we're not going to do the full 8 hours. Let's say 6 hours, 6.5, because I just kept dying and opening the wrong doors and having big combat problems. This reminded me a lot of Vampire.
So then your Jedi comes in as Mira goes out. Visquick says, let's send some more guards out as an excuse for why there are still people alive if you killed them all. You fight your way through to Visquick, and I was going to spare him. Visquick was like, you suck, I'm gonna like gas you and take you away, and he sends gas into the room, and then you're just like, I can't be gassed, I have force breath. Then he calls in his Ubis warriors. He says, hey, get this stupid Jedi, and the Ubis warriors, dun dun dun, turn on Visquick.
Well, he did go, like, before that, talk about how he's going to betray Goto, and he's like, yeah, Goto's an idiot, I'm going to have him killed and then take his place,
Right.
because I'm going to be the one who delivers you the exchange, and they'll be so happy. And
Yeah.
then
Or he says he's going to deliver you to Goto, and then Goto will show himself, and then he'll kill Goto.
you get the phone call
then
from
these-
Goto, and
Yeah.
Goto's like, I heard everything you said, and he's like, well, I've got my Ubis warriors now. And Goto's like, do you though?
Yeah, he's like, I think you have my Ubis warriors. And they do kill him.
Even if you ask him to be like, hey, don't kill Visquis.
Yeah, they don't listen
No.
to you. And then there's a stun trap, and that does get you. And then we also have this weird cutscene where Kriya shows up in that room that you were in, and the Hanhar is passed out there, and she like kicks him, and she's like, "Wake up, beast! You stupid beast! Now you're my slave."
I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah, this scene was really weird. So he wasn't dead, and he's mad that she won't let him die, and she like saves his life, and she's like, "Well, you got my life debt, but I won't drag it out forever. You're just gonna do it with me. And if you kill the exiled Jedi, I will make the scene where something bad happened to you flash in your eyes over and over for the rest of your life. I forgot what the scene was. It was like him the first time he dishonored his clan or something.
Yeah, something like that. And she's like, I won't show you any mercy. I'm not like Mira. And now you're going to do whatever I tell you to do. Which I guess she wants him to go after Mira or something. I can't tell what she wants, but I'm not very impressed with her behavior recently. So smash cut to Baudur and Atton, and they're like, "Hey, Atton, what should we do?" Well, I don't know, but we better not involve any stinking women, huh? Did I mention I'm a Sith torturer? Well, I think we should get the general back. Oh, yeah, I love her. She made me a Jedi. Let's do it. So they have heard that Goto's yacht is hijacking fuel ships, so they decide to pretend to be a fuel ship, and they get our trusty old pal T320 to T6
T3M4, I think.
T3M4. So T3M4, we get this great scene where that little bat guy, the Pazak champ, comes in with the droid, and he's like, I have a droid to sell.
I love that boy.
And yeah. And he sells, quote unquote, the droid to Voga the Hutt's warehouse. And then you kind of roll on through. You can find a C6 droid who is upset about a C7 droid.
The C7 series thinks they're so much better because they're a full generation better, but I'm really pretty good, and I'm just tired of this droid gloating all the time.
Yeah, so you can go, I guess you can sort of persuade the C7 droid away if you have points in that, but I did not for my little droid, so I did have to fight him. And then the C6 droid comes and is like, oh, what a disaster. I guess I'm in charge of this door now.
I did like that the C6 droid's like, oh, yeah, you need to get past that door. Well, I mean, who knows what will happen if you accidentally disable that C7? I might accidentally let you through that door.
And then there's a door with kind of a fun puzzle. I thought it was
it
fun.
was a little logic-y puzzle. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, it's like 3 chunks of rotating numbers, and you only have 3 moves to get them to line up in the right way. It was pretty easy once you figured out how to do it. So you get the codes. But then suddenly there are HK assassin droids.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think everyone's got a stun gun that levels up as you level. Like it says it does like 10 points of damage per level of your droid. And that thing's pretty good.
It is. I was just trying to do the shooty shoots, and it wasn't working. Like I wasn't even hitting anything, which was frustrating.
Yeah.
But then I used that droid shock arm, and it made it really easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing gets.
I have a Ion Blaster too, and that's pretty good.
Oh yeah!
Oh, cool! An Ion Blaster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
So you have the codes. You roll yourself to the garage where the guy can change the registration.
No, this is not an easy process. Getting there.
Yeah, because suddenly the Bith and those little Gans dudes are everywhere, and they are trying to kill you.
And this took me a long, in the end, I just ran to the droid shop. Like, I ran past all of them. I turned on stealth mode with Atton, because Atton's got, like, a stealth belt and everything. And I just ran to the end of this quest, because you can skip all
I don't remember
the
this part.
I
don't know that I saw this.
This is when you get the codes and to get to the yacht, basically. This might be a restored content thing, maybe.
Oh, see, I didn't get this part.
It sucks. I don't know why they would restore it. It's just walking, like, the whole town's full of enemies, and you just have to, like, I went to stealth mode and walked through it, and then got this guy to, this guy who's, I've fixed his droid and everything in a side quest. I got him to make a new ID for the ship that I got from these codes. Although I had another ID that I could have used. I don't know why it gave me 2 of them.
Yeah. So finally we get to the ship. We fly up into the outer space, and we are caught in a tractor beam pulling us towards Goto's sexy pleasure yacht.
Mm-hmm.
What will we find there? That will have to be something we talk about next time on Square Roots.
Cannot wait.
Next time, we will be playing Goto's Sexy Pleasure Yacht, and we will be visiting Duxon.
Yep.
DXUN.
Which is on Onderon. What's the moon of Onderon?
The moon of Onderon. Duxon.
So yeah, I guess both. Well, we'll see how long that takes, but yeah.
Yeah. We're a little bit wiggly with this game because none of us have played it very recently, and the chunkers seem to be a little bit longer than we anticipated.
Yeah. This one pretty long. Does anyone want can I talk about 2 side quests?
Sure.
Please do.
There's one side quest where you find a Bith scientist who's like, he's got really good sensitive hearing, and he keeps hearing a weird signal that he's trying to pinpoint. And he's like getting some kind of signal locator from someone, and asks you to meet them in Pylon 3. And you go there. That guy's dead. The cleaning robot in there attacks you. Then you go back to the Bith scientist with the I guess the results, but all you find is his arm and a data pad, and that's it. That's the end of the quest.
Yeah, it was a very sad quest.
Someone was trying to cover up something about the signal, and you don't know who it is, and maybe this will come back later, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, this is weird. This is frustrating.
I think it will come back, so we'll have to agree to disagree.
And there's also Voga the Hutt. You can get his treasure by finding a dancer for him if you are a male. I tried to get Visa's the Jedi to dance for him, and she's like, "You say that I will do it for you, but I will not do it for you." But the handmaiden's like, well, I guess dancing is kind of like fighting, so sure. She has to wear like a Princess Leia slave dancer outfit, and then dances for Voga.
You can get some Jub juice at the bar, and after you dance for Voga the Hutt, he will fall asleep. And you can put some Jub juice in his hound's dish, and they will drink it and pass out, and then you can...
You only find out about the Jub juice if you hang around people in stealth mode?
Yeah, you have to sneak around. There are like 2 people at the bar. If you approach them, they're like, "Get out of here." But if you stealth up, you can hear them talking about how hounds pass out with Jub juice or something, and... then you can break into Voga's little vault, and there is a lightsaber.
There is a lightsaber in there. So it's definitely worth it for that.
That's what I'm doing next.
There's also a couple you can reunite. That one's kind of boring. But there's one... Okay, so the pylons. Matt was wondering what the hell the pylons are for. There is
another quest that I wandered into the middle of and spent the whole time going, like, doing all the things...
Well,
were clearly there for me to do, but nothing really happening.
You can skip this quest if you talk to the Ithorian enough. Basically, the Ithorian's got cargo he wants to go out. There's this Ithorian in the flop house, and you can say, "Well, what's the cargo?" He's like, "Oh, it's some batteries." I'm like, "Oh, interesting. Can I have one if I get you out of here?" He's like, "Sure." So then I talk to Fassa. And he's like, "Well, you'll have to help me with all these pylons if you want me to let this guy go." And I'm like, "Well, how about if you use the batteries, then you can have all the pylons running at once and you can like work together." He's like, "That's a good idea." And that's how I solved that one. So I skipped the pylon mini game basically by doing that.
Oh, but
And
you
then-
didn't get the speeder.
I did because
You can still get the speeder.
yeah, because Lassavow, I asked him to give me one of his batteries as a reward, and he said sure. So then I used that for the speeder.
Oh, I thought it was one or the other.
No, you can
I am
do
wrong.
both. All right. Anyone want to talk about some other side quests?
I murdered everyone that the game allowed me to murder.
Oh, actually, I did. It's a bullshit mini game side quest. I'll tell you about real fast, and then I have to go.
Okay.
Okay.
So to do not swoop racing in this area, there is a droid who's owned by the swoop racing bar guy.
I liked this one.
And he's modified it so the droid's basically way faster. He doesn't need safeties on because he can handle the pressure that a human can't, or a living creature can't. And this lady wants to run the bar and wants me to sabotage this droid. So I went to the droid and used my computer skills, sabotaged it. The guy comes up. I thought I was just trying to reprogram his behavior, but then he just explodes. And the bar owner was like, "What? I'm ruined. I'll never be able to pay back my debt now." And I'm like, "Yeah, you should probably get off this planet, huh? And maybe sell it to that lady." And he's like, "Yeah, I'll do that to Barla Lorsa or whatever her name is." So he sells the bar to her. She's real happy, and I get to pod race. And unfortunately, there's no other good flyers, so you can win even with a terrible time in this
Oh, wow.
swoop race section. So
But there's the swoop that you can restore in the refugee sector. Too,
that
right?
is just as a fast travel. Basically, that unlocks fast
That's a land
travel.
speeder,
Yeah.
Oh.
You can get around different parts of the city with it.
which is not actually all that useful.
No, it's a fun little side bit.
Yeah.
I used because I did such a bad job of repairing it that would have been able to fly, but T3 came in and just fixed it for me because he was in my party. I think Bowder can do the same thing.
I asked him to look at it when I've had repaired it, and he's like, "Yeah, it's fine."
T3 criticized my repairs because they were unsafe. All right, friends. I'm going to go, so you're going to wrap up this episode without me.
Oh, what will we do without
But I love you all,
Johnny?
and thanks everyone for listening, and I'm looking forward to next chunker.
Bye, John.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
When the grown-ups leave the room, now it's time to play. It's Vanessa and Jim and Matt all day. No, Johnny, we can do what we want.
Bye, John.
So
bye.
we can end the
He's
podcast
still
early and
there.
I can go to bed.
No,
We got to talk about what we're squarely against.
that's
Let's
right.
do it. This
I'm
game is
squarely
broken.
against. What was I? I'm squarely against. Chasing this Bisquick dude all around his thing. It was really frustrating to have to go through all this stuff and fight all these people and not even get to fight him. I was frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Vanessa?
I'm squarely against the general jank of this game. We've mentioned before how sometimes cutscenes don't play when they're supposed to, and then end up just like playing randomly later. And that did happen to me here, where I was asking Kriya about something about her past, and she's like, "I'll tell you," and it sort of faded down to black and then faded back up again, and she's like, "And that's my past." And then, so it didn't show me anything, and then later when I was like walking around, there was just this random scene of Kriya at like some Sith ruin, and she was like, "These Sith ruins held all this power, blah blah blah," and I was like, "What is that? What?"
My game had a big glitch too, where like it would only show my character's dialogue, and whenever it was supposed to cut to the other person you were talking to, it would just skip over it. So it was especially frustrating in the droid getting the codes part, because my dialogue was only dee 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 doo doo dee, and then it wouldn't show any other dialogue, and I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing?
I am roundly for when you're controlling the droid, your dialogue options are just deet doot doot doot, and it doesn't actually translate for you what the droid is saying. Even as a droid, you don't speak droid.
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
You know, I had a fun glitch where during the fight with the twin sisters, one of them became my friend and started attacking her sister. But then it turned out that the door was locked and nothing would initiate another cutscene or anything. And I was just stuck there with my new best friend. So I'm squarely against this glitchy ass game.
Well, cool. Well, we don't have any emails this week, but we do have a Patreon to plug, which Matt will tell you all about.
Oh, fuck yeah, I will. Listen, gang, have I got the news flash of the century for you? Square Roots has a Patreon. What?
What?
We have 2 tiers, and the first tier, you get to listen to all of our sweet bonus content. Monthly bonus episodes where we talk about new games, or we play a really old stinker and bitch about it, and sometimes just like rando episodes, like spoiler casts and stuff. And then
Y'all, people like those episodes. Did you see the comment on the Facebook? Someone was like, this last episode you did was my favorite of the regular show in a long time.
Whoa.
Implying that he really likes the Patreon episodes almost even more.
Whoa.
Or just implying that the show's not good. We also
It's
have
good enough.
a $5 tier that gives you the ability to vote for our next games. Sometimes, not always. It's a little complicated. Go to patreon.com/squarerootspodcast to get all the deets on that. But regardless, you get to vote all the time and tell us what to do. And people always enjoy doing that. And sometimes there's campaigns over who should, like which game's going to get played next. And it gets all fun and crazy. But anyway.
This might be some inside baseball, but usually we open the Patreon up for votes when we internally cannot agree on what the next game should be.
That's very true, and it happens a lot. It just kind of depends on whether or not one of us is able to sway all the other ones into our way of seeing
That's
things.
usually what happens when an internal campaign fails. Usually the result is like, you know what? Let's just let the listeners decide.
Well, it makes the most sense. It's the easiest way to solve disputes. Votes.
Yeah, I don't think that Matt Jorgensen will ever forgive me, though, for making you guys play Vampire after it lost the vote. I'm sorry, Matt Jorgensen.
Yeah, I was kind of afraid that was going to happen. So we have one extra bonus of being a patron, and that's that we really read a big old list of patrons at the end of the show, and we're going to do that right now.
Yeah, let me kick us off here. We have No Gods, No Masters, Hexagon, Stephen Paget, Samu Mitchell, Sty of the Beholder, Ward Childress, Aaron Bachman, Chris Wilder, PJ Enns, Knopford, David Green, Sean Walsh, Joseph, Heavy Metal Jesus, Devin Sloan, Robert T., Amanda Douglas, Kevin Mosser, Halloween Candy has turned my mouth into a desert of pain, Ryan Miller, Armin Hammer, Rusty Kamada, the infamous Ganko Biloba, Paul Bursch, Free Hong Kong, Jordan O'Boyle, and T. Bumpkins.
We'd also like to thank Sexy Grandma is Dead, Long Live Sexy Grand Moff Tarkin, Stephen Kroc, Tyler Petty, Stu Skeel, Andy Best, Megan Sullivan, Hudson Roth, Jameson, Brady A. Berman, fine, say everyone's name, at least it annoys Matt, Benjamin Abner, Justin Ham, Good Let the Hate Flow Through You, K. Gigi Loth, Bree Girth, I Did It All for the Wookiee, Alexander Jogic, Adam Zimmerman, Jake Dickerson, Jonathan Ellsworth, Matthew Casterline, Miguel Torres, Andy M., Rising Hopper, Chewy, I hardly know he, Matthew Newland, David Shook, and Nathan Poirot.
G. Bailey, Michael Crawford, Ron 2, 4chan is Henry Bowers, Eric Garby, Matt Jorgensen, Randy Pierce, Mary Queen of Scoffs, Joshua Bennett, Brian Pitt, Robert M. Pullum, Wonder Swan, Aaron Little, Have You Heard the Tragedy of Darth Plagueis? Huxley Iguana, Sean Gonzalez, Lexavarial, Reddit is Harold Lauder, Galendo, Sean Arta, Cyril the Wolf, Jared Collins, Citrus C, The Phantom Scofflaws of the Opera. Cameron, Joey, Just Jerry,
you-
Wash in the Wind.
Did you
What?
you skipped one?
Which one did I skip?
Chris Ryan.
Oh my goodness, I did. I'm so sorry, Chris Ryan. Just for that, you get your name said multiple times.
Chris Ryan.
No, there it was. Cameron, Joey, Just Jerry, Wash in the Wind, Christian Go, Squall would beat Cloud in a fight, Patrick W. Bears, The Holiday Armadillo, Race Jenkins, Gregory, Ross Hartley, Live and Love, Vida Yoda, The Mighty Monarch, De Jethro, James Hostetler, Chris Penyak, It's a Kwame, Mario, Andy Smith, Square Roots Con 2020, August 20th at Matt's Place, Dr. Steve Stone, Vanessa's mom, That One Guy, Andrew O, Tom, Tracy Tanoff, Florian Jonas Kramer, George Brady, Vanessa's fourth mom, Wonder Swan, and the infamous Ginkgo biloba.
I definitely said that one up top, but we're gonna read it again. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you want to send us an email to have read on the air, you can email us squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod. Do we have a music credit yet?
We don't have a music credit, and at this point, I was thinking maybe we should just reach out to the listeners. Listeners, send us a ditty. We need something for this last few episodes.
Yeah. If you've written a Star Wars song, please send it to us.
Particularly if you've written it, performed it, and recorded it. Because we can't do any of that.
Yeah, we should make a post on the Facebook group too.
That's a great idea.
I agree. That is a great idea.
Yeah.
Hey, how about you please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Smash that like and subscribe, boys.
Wow!
And girls and non-binary. I'm not supposed to gender our listeners. I apologize.
It's mostly boys. So...
All right, everybody. For Square Roots, I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm John Brandon. That was a terrible John.
That was
terrible.
not close
It's like
to
this.
John
You
at
do it like
all.
this.
That was a drunk, scary John.
I'm John Brandon. Is that close? Did I get...
It started out
John
good, and
just
then it
sounds
ended in a weird, goofy impression.
Yuck.
How do you do an impression of John? He just has a nice, pleasant voice.
Gotta get a little Canadian in that accent.
Oh, I'm John Brandon, eh? Come to my
Yes.
house. I'm so sorry.
100% accurate. Great job.
Bye. I'm Vanessa.